So another question that I get asked a lot as well is, for instance, when people talk to me and they say to me, "So why are you not really writing a theme for this and this character? Why is there just a drone and not a really strong melody like Star Wars?" And in the extension of that question, there's a lot of talk online why movie scores right now are not as memorable as some of the classic ones from back in the day. So this is a very interesting question. This has a lot to do with style of filmmaking. This is not entirely up to me. This is choices that directors make. And let me give you two different examples. One example is Brimstone, the alternative movie that I just finished, and it's coming out roughly in March. Now, this director, Martin Koolhoven, is a really big fan of old school Hollywood, but also old school Italian, French film scores with really strong melodies, almost like Bernard Herrmann, Ennio Morricone. And when scenes get emotional, he really wants to swell the violins and hear a really strong melody in the cello. And that is an approach that that director really likes. Then there are other directors, for instance, Scott Cooper, that I worked with on Black Mass with Johnny Depp, who doesn't want that at all. He wants, when he sees an emotional scene, he doesn't want to hear a really strong melody. He wants to hear something really small or maybe nothing at all. Let's do the let the acting do the work and just really have a subtle answer to that. So that has a lot to do with where film score is going. There is also a lot of directors that just want some electronic loops with a little bit of sound design. They don't want to hear any themes. So a lot of the new movies that I've worked on over the last couple of years, none of the directors want to hear a theme like the Star Wars theme. And let's just be bluntly honest, I couldn't even write a theme like that, you know, because that's John Williams. That's his style, and he's extremely good at that. But nevertheless, the directors that I've worked with didn't want even a theme like that. So it has very much to do with the approach of the film and what the director wants for that film. So it's not really an honest discussion to talk about what film scores are and solely contribute that to the composer. This has a lot to do with what the feeling of the film is and what the music needs to convey to the audience through the vision of the director. That's the most important part. And in general, when it comes to themes, when I try to work with that on a different level. So for instance, with Mad Max, there was never room in the film to really play like his theme, because immediately we're thrown into action, and the story develops really quickly from there with Furiosa and with Immortan at the Citadel. So George and I talked about it so much. It's like, how can we create something that makes Max really identifiable in what he's feeling? So he wasn't looking for a big melody. He was very clear for that he didn't want that. But he wanted something that would underscore what Mad Max was feeling. So the first thing that I came up with was the intermittent cello lines that would play on the low C. So it was like dun, 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 and then it would be dun, and then it would be two, dun, dun. So it's always like that moment of uncertainty. You never knew if it was 3 or 2 or 1, and sometimes it was 4. And then we had the other string riff that get introduced pretty soon after that, which is the and it was on repeat, and that underscored his paranoia and his really post-traumatic stress that he has of all these experiences of being captured and being tortured and being thrown in a cell or whatnot. So with those tools, I was able to identify a very unique sound for Max early on in the film among all the action that's immediately happening, without playing actually a melody with a chord progression or anything like that. like I said, George was not looking for that. So I had to come up with something that did work. And we found these two elements, and we were both very happy how they worked in the film and how they worked throughout the film. So this is a little story about, like, in my world, in the films that I work on, how directors approach thematic material for the main characters or for the movie. So I hope this is a helpful answer.